It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. No one cares for you a bit when you're a foster kid. It's the hard knock life. Now, I remember sitting in my TV growing up and hearing those lyrics blare from my screen as I sat back and watched the hit Hollywood film, Annie. The story of a feisty, curly-haired young girl who is navigating her world through the foster care system. Now, Annie is not just a fictional screen on our movies. You see, Annie is the portrayal of a real-life problem that is drastically increasing in our world today: foster care. And according to HeartGalleryOfAmerica.org, there are over 435,000 children in the foster care system today. And that is just in the United States alone. Over 110,000 of those children are in need of adoptive families right now. And each year, approximately 20,000 children age out of the system at 18 to live on their own, unprepared and unsupported. So no, by no means is Annie just a fictional movie on our screens for entertainment purposes. But the story of Annie is the reality for thousands of children in the world today. So I want us to analyze the world of foster care by first looking at what it means to live the hard knock life. Second, examine some of the reasons that people are failing to get involved. And third, looking towards some practical solutions to show us how we can be that sun that comes out tomorrow in the lives of foster children. So let's dive in. What exactly does it mean to live the hard knock life? To begin to answer this question, I want us to dissect some more lyrics from the song. Annie states, "Don't it feel like the wind is always howling? Don't it feel like there's never any light? Once a day, don't you want to throw the towel in because it's easier than putting up a fight? No one's there when your dreams at night get creepy, and no one cares if you grow or if you shrink." Now, this is the part I want us to hone in on. Empty belly life, rotten, smelly life, full of sorrow life, no tomorrow life. You see, to live the hard knock life is to live a life of loneliness, hopelessness, exhaustion, and fear. Feelings that are way too common in the foster care system. You see, we must remember that every single foster child has a story, whether it be facing physical, sexual, emotional abuse, or neglect. They have all been in the position of feeling worthless, abandoned, and unloved. When these children enter the foster care system, the best case scenario is that they will be placed with a relative. However, in most cases, these children are sent to live with strangers in foster homes and group facilities where they have to live with other foster children and staff members. And according to Annie E. Casey Foundation, living long-term in a group facility has a negative effect on foster children. They aren't able to develop those practical skills, develop that healthy relationship with an adult, or simply experience a healthy home life. And caseworkers are failing to see the trauma that is being put on these children from maltreatment and multiple moves from homes and schools in the foster care system. All those transitions lead to a lack of familiarity. That lack of familiarity turns into a lack of comfort. And that lack of comfort turns into a lack of security. You see, the trauma of these foster children just continues to build. And in time, foster children begin to place feelings of regret, guilt, and shame on themselves and believe that their trauma is resulted from something that they did. However, on the outside looking in, we understand that nothing that they're going through is their fault. But when a child's mind becomes so engrossed in guilt and shame, it is so hard to comprehend and accept the truth of the matter. So then how do you sit down with a 10-year-old and tell her, you did nothing to deserve being abused? How do you sit down with a little boy and tell them that although his father loves him deeply, he doesn't have the right to lash out at him as a sign of frustration? In some cases, you simply can't. You see, these children do not just need a regular old foster parent. They need someone who will sit with them in the family courtroom as they sit across from their family and often be told they can't go home. They need someone who will be there on the days they have to go to school, fake it till they make it, and act as if their world were not falling apart. You see, what these foster children deal with is very real, and it's not easy. Nor should we treat it like it's easy. Because being pulled from your home, having to live with strangers, pushed through the judicial system as if you're just a number, and just simply trying to hold yourselves together, that is the hard knock life. So now that we have a better understanding of what it means to live the hard knock life, let us examine some reasons that people are failing to get involved. So in the movie Annie, the audience is introduced to a plethora of characters. The first character is Miss Hannigan, the foster mother. Now, Miss Hannigan is a drunken, lazy, selfish, hateful woman who, despite her role, hates children. On the flip side, we have Daddy Warbucks, who is a billionaire who takes in Annie, but has no intentions of developing a real relationship with her, but instead wants to use her to promote his public image. Now, while these specific characters are fictional, the situation is far from it. So let us rid the foster care system of the Miss Hannigans who take in children for money and greed. Let us do away with the Daddy Warbucks who have no intentions of developing a real relationship with a child, but instead use that child's trauma for their personal gain. Let us do away with the people that simply can do good and replace them with those that want to do good. Because you see, the world just doesn't need foster parents to stand up. The world needs good foster parents to stand up. Because these children deserve it. Now you see, 33% of people consider getting involved in the foster care system. Approximately only 2% ever do. So why is that? The big but. I want to get involved, but, well, I was thinking about it, but excuses. You see, so many of us go through the millions of reasons why we can't do anything, rather than the one reason that we could. The first excuse focuses on materialism. You see, I want to help, but I don't think I can provide them with. Now, besides the essentials of food, water, clothing, and shelter, foster children do not need special treatment. So no, they don't need some big house to live in, name brand clothes, or the newest iPhone. Now, while I'm sure many of them wouldn't fight you for it, a lack to provide should not be the reason that you don't get involved. Because let us be real, materials don't last forever. But the true love of someone can last a lifetime. So let's shift our focus from providing those temporary materials to providing these children with someone that will be there for them and support them mentally and emotionally, not just physically. The second excuse is, but I don't want to deal with the foster care system. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very, very, very valid point. The foster care system can be messy. There may be days of miscommunication. There may be days of no communication. There may be judges and caseworkers that simply do not care. But again, we should not let that stop us from helping these children out. Because the fact that the system is messy does not disregard the fact that there are so many children being affected by it. Now, I love the words of adoptive mother Marlee Brantley, where she states, "You may not necessarily be able to fix the brokenness of the system, But your only job is to hold the hand of the one that is being wounded by its brokenness. Foster children don't need excuses. Foster children need advocates. And lastly, and probably the most common excuse that I hear is, but I don't want to get too attached. Now, as someone who loves really, really hard, I know how it feels to have the fear of attachment. But let us remember that these foster children need to feel that healthy attachment. They need someone to show them what a healthy, happy home looks like. So if you have the opportunity of having a foster child in your home, try not to think of the hurt that will come if they lose. Instead, be present and nurture them with so much love, care, and support that they can take with them. And lastly, just be there for them. Because these children have come from homes where they have felt like no one has cared about them. Let's change that. So with all of this being said, what are some practical solutions? How can we be the sun that comes out tomorrow in the lives of foster children? First, we need to stop looking at the foster care system as if it is this distant problem that doesn't affect us. Instead, we who are able to help should help those who aren't able to help themselves. First, support. If time is concerned, simply support those who are foster parents. Take over a meal, offer to babysit, or simply be a listening ear for those hard days. If you know someone whose child has just been put in the foster care system, support them as well. Offer to take them to meetings, job interviews, and simply be an accountability partner for them so that we make sure that these children are getting placed back in a healthy, stable, and secure home. Number 2, donate. Help gather clothes, toys, games, and suitcases for children that literally come into the foster care system with a trash bag full of their belongings. Now let me repeat that. They come in with a trash bag full of their belongings. In no way should we ever be making a child feel like they are garbage. Number 3, mentor. Hang out with the foster child. Take them for ice cream, simply just jam out in your car. The emotional investment that you are pouring in them is something that will change their lives forever. Be that sense of hope that they have. Number 4, patience, sympathy, empathy. Everyone's story is different. So never assume that you know a foster child's story, and never try to tell them how to feel because of their story. Your only job is to be present, be kind, listen, and actively engage. And lastly, advocate. If you don't feel like you can do anything else on this list, advocate. There are so many people in the world who simply do not know the reality of the foster care system. Pass on your knowledge and raise awareness. Now, I am not just standing up here as someone speaking about things that I don't know about. I speak from experience. You see, I was that little girl who had to sit across from her mother in a family courtroom just to be told I couldn't go home. I was that girl who had to be convinced that she was doing the right thing by reporting years of abuse. I was that foster child who thought that I would always live the hard knock life. But now I stand up here as a 20-year-old telling you by actively engaging in the foster care system and helping these children out, you can change their lives. You see, I went from a girl struggling in some of my classes to getting 4.0s. A girl who thought that I had no future ahead of me to a girl getting a full ride scholarship. A girl who thought I was nothing to a girl who was literally living out one of her dreams and giving a TED Talk today. And this story isn't just special to me. Think of Simone Biles, Michael Oher, John Lennon, so many successful people who have been positively impacted by the foster care system. Because someone took a chance on them. Someone chose them. And with your help, I would love to make that the reality for so many other children in the world today. So I think what I want to do is rewrite those lyrics from the beginning. Let's change them to, they went through a hard knock life. Yeah, they went through a hard knock life. But let's show them that we're always there and show them that we will always care through those hard knocks in life. So take my words and put them to action, because you never know whose life you could change. No, you never know whose life you could save. Thank you.